why are we using a canvas instead of a notebook? And we want to take the uh, viewers of why is it better to use
As a
a
project
canvas.
manager, I'm able to see, and as a head of the development team, I'm able to see uh, how the data gets ingested into the system and it goes through various processes. And I'm not really interested as to what the nitty gritties are, the smaller, finer points that are happening inside at every step or every node.
Today, you and I, Prashant, we're going to talk about our own work. We're sharing, you're sitting there with the team.
Yeah.
Um, we are
Yes.
just saying it as it comes. We would like to help people. We are really giving our own experience out free of cost, just helping out fellow AI producers. This is aimed for both the users when it comes to the clients and the industry players, decision makers, as well as it is for a higher AI practitioners. So with that, today we're talking about Oryx models report and visualization generator, correct?
Yes, Khalid.
Okay. So this generator basically, it is nothing beyond having all this data set, entering it at the beginning and start of the pipeline. And at the end, we are getting both a report with visualization.
Visualizations.
But what is important to say that we are doing this using LLMs only. So the structure has many things in the middle, but as we will show everyone, but it is meant for having it work by its own instead of having the intricacies so that we can have this. People can just come and push from one side and get from
Yes.
the other side. So the whole idea is getting the same task that normally takes a long time. We used to do it ourselves. We used to employ so much of machine learning. You remember.
Yes. Yes.
So and hey, when I say I remember, you remember. I'm not talking about 3-4 years. Until
Yeah.
2 months back.
Correct. You're talking about like a few months ago. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So we're
Yes.
talking about this now. So now we want to tackle one of them is why are we using a canvas instead of a notebook? And we want to take the viewers of why is it better to use a canvas.
The canvas.
And yes,
Yeah.
a canvas. So let us probably start by highlighting the canvas. And you can probably share the canvas.
Sure. I'll just pull it up.
And maybe your point, the main point is what are the benefits of having using a canvas? That's the whole thing today. So from your side, you want to say something about it, and you said you want to talk yourself about clarity of flow as number one. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Let us know why clarity of flow from your side, from your perspective.
So the canvas, as you're seeing, it shows us from left to right. Of course, it goes a little bit up and down. As a project manager, I'm able to see, and as a head of the development team, I'm able to see uh, how the data gets ingested into the system and it goes through various processes. And I'm not really interested as to what the nitty gritties are, the smaller, finer points that are happening inside at every step or every node. And I see it going through, and I see an execution and an output of a report along with text and with visuals.
But Prashant, I have to stop you here because because I want the viewers to understand this
Sure.
very clearly. You are not a coder. You don't know how to code. And
Yeah.
although honestly, you do have some like HTML code and stuff like that. You do. I mean, it's not like you don't.
Yes.
But
Yes.
overall, this coding you don't do. And I remember when we started even before, it was very. I mean, tell me if it's not true. You had issues even looking at the book, the notebook, because it's
Absolutely.
like gibberish. It's gibberish. You don't
Yeah.
understand it. But having this now is a huge jump for you, is it not?
Absolutely. Because and you brought touch upon this point. I'm not going to, as a project manager, again, I'll repeat it. I'm not, I will keep myself in the boundary of getting getting our team to deliver a solution, and I'm not going to install these notebooks, those servers, etc., on my development computer. I know you can do it. I mean, a developer will do it, but the canvas gives me a clear overview. It's like draw a flow chart, and at each node, I'm actually able to visualize and see what is going on in there.
And I have to ask you, Prashant, now you also have seen notebooks, but let people who know or who don't know also at the same time. This same thing we are looking at, you yourself, you have it in a notebook simultaneously, same time.
I have
But
it in a notebook.
right, but the thing is, you don't need to go. If you look at the notebook, you will go from pages and pages and pages going
Yes,
down, right? But
and
and the
I'm
interconnectivity is not clear.
execute at every step, and it's painful. I mean, it's not. It is painful. I mean, a lot of people have got used to doing it. But here's a system where it is faster, easier. Um, yeah, in many ways, it is better.
Yeah, and I want to everyone to know this is an N8N. N8N is
N8N,
what we're
yes.
using as
So
a
we use
canvas.
an N8N, yeah,
Yes, and so you
platform.
can see here. Look at this. Look at the ease actually. Starting from here. Can you take us like just fast, like starting from the left where you
So yeah,
start by the entry.
so we start from the left. Uh, Typical. There is a, a data set already uploaded and kept in the background in the system. The user comes in and chats in a message and says, "What are the number of broadband connections in the city of Muscat?" So we take that as an input or the chat message. We extract the context from it. And I'm doing this while I'm talking to you. We
Yes.
extract the context from it, and we use a different node that will uh, take that query and convert it into take that input and convert it into a query. All right. Of course, it has to use an LLM, but you connected an LLM to it. It responds with an output, a query, returns it into JSON, and then we
You
fire
see,
it
I see a
into
split.
the
I see
entire
a split.
database.
You have a split here.
Yes, yes.
The
So
reason?
I'll come back to the split. Okay, so let's go to the top upper section. So the query actually in what we're using is pretty much a filter. I mean, if you look at it that way, it's a SQL query, but it filters out and gets you that data. It generates it into the output format that you want. Yeah.
Prashant, I'll stop you every like now
Yes.
and then.
Yes, please
Like
do.
now you have GPT 4o. I can see that mini. That's what it says
Yes.
here. But
Yes.
it can be any other LLM. It can be
It
also
can be, yeah.
it can also be open source, like DeepSeek, for instance. And
DeepSeek,
by
for
the way, I
example.
want
Yes.
everyone to know that DeepSeek have actually started, well, and started their own
DeepSeek.
DeepSeek
They've just,
node
yes.
only today. They've announced it.
Yes, just a few hours ago, in fact. Yes.
And it broke the internet, huh? Because it's not working because of how much traffic it has on it.
Yes, I guess because they've been pounding traffic into it, and
Yeah.
yeah. So coming down to the we first go up here. We generate
Is this the
a
report
chart.
side, for instance? Is this a report side here?
Is this a report?
Is this the report? Because there is a report and there is also
So
a
there is a report.
visualization. But I
There is
mean,
a
is this the
report, and it
report
generates a
side and then
visualization.
visualization is down?
Yes, we generate a chart out of it, so it gives you a
Okay.
breakup, and you can select
Okay.
as in you want a bar chart, and we've trained. We're teaching the LLM uh, based on the data that you want to represent on the screen or in the report.
Yeah, the style you mean?
Like if there's something for over a period of time, like a time series, then show a line chart. If it is breakup
Mm.
by, let's say, area within Muscat,
Yes,
as I
yes, yes,
mentioned, that
yes,
region 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it can show a bar chart. If you
yes,
want a percentages, it can show a pie
yes,
chart. So we talking to the LLM, hey, and we are not programming. We are telling the LLM what to do through this canvas, and it is generating output. We are giving it restrictions, boundaries, and says, please generate these outputs for us so that I can go from one node to the other, one step to the other.
Yes,
Yeah,
but you are definitely going and putting the boundaries, because without boundaries, this cannot do. So there are lots of
yes,
intricacies in the middle here. Your
yes,
JSON restructuring is a different thing. Your
yes,
prompting is a different thing. Your no-code DB was a choice.
correct,
It wasn't just
correct.
something that was like that. You
No,
had
no,
to
absolutely
take it.
not.
Yeah,
I mean, even from visualization, you have to tell it, hey, I'm today using eCharts, or if I'm using chart.js, or if I'm using XYZ type of chart. So it depends on, because every charting tool, every charting application has its own specific format of the data that it would receive.
sure.
And they have their own internal capabilities. So
So
this is,
Prashant, we can conclude this part because we need to move then to the
yeah,
other point.
yeah.
We don't want to make it lengthy.
Correct. So the lower part is collecting the textual information. It merges it, the text and the graph, and it shows an output of a report on your screen in the chat bot, in the bot window.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the user
Yeah, and I see
the
here you
user
used Anthropic instead of the other one. So it's really interchangeably. Another big point how it's easy from outside to see. So
yes,
let's maybe move to the next point, which is the
yeah,
ease of deployment. I mean, I feel everything that is being done, what we have done online, is having an online front end, but it's
yes,
easily connected to this one here, and it is a beauty.
correct.
Wait, it is online or it can be offline, which is in premises, right? On
In a
premises.
private network on premise, correct?
A-
Absolutely.
yes, a private, what is it?
You
Do
can
we
call it a
call it
within a
private
organization
server?
private network.
Right, within a private network. So both are capable. So if it's a
Both are
private
capable.
one, what do you do then? I mean, I know we talked about it. So we can exchange instead of the ChatGPT or this GPT-4, it's going to be one of the larger ones of the open source ones can be
Open
there,
source
correct?
ones, yes, yes. And also, there are some clients who want, for example, the data to stay internal,
Mm.
their own specific data to stay internal. Their users only access it from an internal network. But in one or two cases, one query or two queries, they might want to go to the internet and get some information. So those things can be opened up if you want to continue using ChatGPT, or then you want to use on-premise
Yes,
like a DeepSeek
yes, yes,
on-premise.
yes. So Prashant,
We
this
have
is
already
one
bundled.
pipe. And I know that we are actually looking at multiple pipes now very soon to have them.
Absolutely.
There's a name to that. There's what's the name of NA10? I'm talking about NA10 especially. Do you remember it?
Uh,
It's basically
the
a switch that gives all multiple lines, sorry, pipelines, I should say, and putting them together. So it's much easier. So you can have basically you can replicate a full ERP kind of
you can, you can.
flow within the pipes, and then and let me just say that the ease of deployment for this one, this is deployable with a push of a button now through
Right.
that
You can
entry point,
containerize
right?
it and put it in a on a on a on a on a hardware as that you deem fit within your own network. Yeah,
So aside from what you need to do from parameters, because that is always there. Otherwise, it's like anyone's game, but it's not. So this thing, even though it looks very easy, but it has a lot of work put into it, especially
of course.
especially the parameters, what have you. But my point is, you can put this like if only without parameters, it won't work. But you can do it in like seconds. I mean,
You can
you know what I mean.
absolutely. In
Like
fact,
3 minutes, 4 minutes, you have that. The point here is that you have the privilege of doing it this way.
absolutely. And hey, uh, this while this is being worked with one of the developers in our team, I can
Yes.
log in from my desktop and read the prompt or read the interaction with the LLM, review it, read it, and say, okay, let's clean it up, and I can do it. So that it also supports the collaboration. I'm sure that the notebooks also allow it, but I'm not. I'm still going to be challenged because of my skill set and because of my mindset block. to actually
Mm.
go and read a notebook. So this works perfect for me, person like me.
So, so then next after this is that since this is like that, it is very easy to replicate, is it not, for you in your own
Yes,
environment?
yes,
So,
absolutely.
so you can have this be running in many different companies with different clients
Correct.
separately, some private, some online,
Some
all of
public.
them at the same time.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
each one of them can have it on their own private cloud, for
On
instance.
their own private cloud. Correct.
So really, and the whole time you will take for that is replication. But this gives us the privilege of when we give to them, we take a copy of that and we work for the next level. So
Correct.
continuously we're improving on it while they are working, doing their normal stuff as a
Correct.
client, but we are
Correct.
getting better and better and employing faster and all the updates of all the LLMs that we get, like DeepSeek in this
Absolutely.
case.
Absolutely. And if you look at the last step out here, there's a report generator. This is generating a report on the screen, but we can dump it in the format that the customer client wants and says, hey, just give me an output in JSON and pass it to respond it back to my ERP, and I'll take it from there. Because the biggest best thing that we can do, and we have been doing, is that we want to make sure that the input and the output can be originated and ended at the client's existing systems. We will manage the processing of the information
In the middle.
in the middle.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right. So also this takes us to something else, which is like, the ease of even explaining to the client, if you know what I mean.
absolutely,
You can just show
absolutely,
that and the client sees that and they understand how the whole flow goes.
exactly. It's actually a flowchart before your eyes.
Absolutely. And also now last point I want to get before we close today, debugging. I loved it for debugging because you can see the colors. You have a red color and you have a bell that comes up
Yes,
wherever it's. So same pipe can be running with the client in their own
correct,
private instance, and we can have it here. And when we are alerted, we can immediately go. We don't need to go and take so much time to figure it out. It's there in front of
correct,
us.
correct. The alerts for your LLM is not responding correctly. You asked a very large question. The data output is very large.
Yes.
There can be 110 errors. And those errors are, unfortunately, if I use a notebook, it is going to explain it in those 200 lines, whereas the LLM or this canvas tells me in one line that this is what has happened, and I can go and fix it.
So it's about this, even about debugging, it's the same thing. Our motto is getting things easier, faster, and better
Faster, better.
for
Yeah,
for a much better and faster decision making.
absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
Prashant, I think we've covered this
Yep,
enough. And thank you so much for your time because I know you were working on something. I had to call you and ask you to stop and so we can do this. But I
my
know
pleasure.
that people will thank us for what we are doing because we're helping them.
I hope so too. And thanks very much. And we'll chat soon. Thank you.
I'll speak to you. Take care.